this live show. My name is Luke. I will be your teacher for this live English class. If you have never checked out my courses before, make sure you check those out. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can see future live streams and videos. And also, don't forget to hit the like button as well. Of course, don't forget to do that. Well, before we get started, by the way, we're going to be talking about today questions from you guys, and also we will be talking about how to respond when people ask you questions, and we'll be focusing on that very soon. So don't worry about that. If you're interested about that topic, we will be doing that very shortly. I'm just going to share this as I usually do. For some reason, I have to do that. Very important. And then we can get started. Looks like we already have a few people here. That's good. Hope you're having a good. It's Tuesday here. Tuesday, 12:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Hello, hello. Greetings one, greetings all. Okay, turn that on. All right, now we're all set. We are, friends, neighbors, family, set, so we can get started. Okay. If you see me sharing stuff at the beginning of live streams, it's usually the link that I'm sharing into the WhatsApp group. People have asked about the WhatsApp group. If you want to get into the WhatsApp group, don't ask me about it. Find someone who is in the WhatsApp group and ask them if you can get in the WhatsApp group. They are the gatekeepers. I'm not the gatekeeper. They are the gatekeepers. So find those people and talk to them and ask them. And you can get in the WhatsApp group. I'm just a member of the group. So it is a lot of cool conversations happen there. And as I mentioned before, I am keen on the idea of starting a server of sorts for anyone who's interested in doing a kind of, live stream ideas I have, playing a game together like Among Us or something cool, right, where we're actually able to interact live rather than me just answering questions, which I enjoy doing too. But just to make it more interactive, if any of you are interested in that sort of stuff and would be willing to put energy into it, I am thinking about doing a Discord server, and that might be a cool way to interact and have a sort of more of a community feeling. But I don't want to be the guy, running it in a very strict way. So anyway, Janaki is here. That's good. Amen. Mohammed is here. What is the topic? We're going to be working on responses, how to respond to specific questions. And of course, I'll be answering questions. Omoa says, how's it going up there? It's going very well. How's it going down there? Bo says, hi, Luke. Hello, Bo. I have a question. When can I omit any? Greetings from Colombia. You are such a baboon. Oh, boon. To me, since your teachings are very clear and foremost useful. I thought you called me a baboon. That would hurt my feelings. I am a man, not a baboon. When can we omit any? Is that the question? Well, I would like if you could be a little more specific in what sort of situation, which one confuses you. Give me an example, and then we can talk about it. Give me an example of how you might use any, and then we can sort of study that. Because any can be used in so many different ways. We could spend the rest of this class talking about the word any which I'm sure not everyone wants to do. I'm happy to talk about it, but I'd like to have something slightly more specific. Give me another example if you don't mind. Nellie's here. Paulson is here. Paulson is here? What? Bo, maybe you can use Kahoot. What is Kahoot? Let me Google that. I always feel nervous about saying random things people say out loud because recently I fell for the ICUP one. Or Kahoot could be the worst word in some language. It could be a terrible curse word. Who knows? Kahoot. Kahoot is what? Kahoot, learning games. Make learning awesome. How to play Kahoot. Oh, this looks fun. What is this? Looks like it's for kids. Make this school year awesome with Kahoot. Make studying awesome. Create, host, and share. More than 1 million players a year. Oh, wow. So it's a learning program that delivers engaging learning content, and it looks like it's for learning content in general, not specifically for English, but that's pretty cool. Maybe I can do a review of Kahoot and see if that would be an interesting thing to at least review, and then we can decide. Well, I don't know if we should play that. Wouldn't it be awesome if 5 or 6 of us could just, for one live stream, play a game together? That would be so cool. I don't know if it's Kahoot or what. Kahoot seems like very kiddie, though, Bo. It seems a little kiddie to me. And I'm seeing a bunch of kids. Kids. I am an adult. I am a man. Let's try something else. I don't know. I'll look into it. Okay. You look like Elvis Presley. Hopefully early Elvis Presley, not later Elvis Presley. There's a big difference between those two. Look at early Elvis and late Elvis. Let's see. I'll show you guys a picture here really quickly. Wow. And then late Elvis. Yikes. All right, here's early Elvis. Here's early Elvis. Oh, let me stretch this out. All right. There's early Elvis. Close? Well, I don't think so anyway. And let's take a look at late Elvis. Pretty different. Got a Coca-Cola there. Someone needs to hold his microphone for him because he can't raise his arms up. He was very fat at the end of his life. And actually, I believe Elvis died on the toilet. Is that correct? Can someone correct me on that? But yeah. Anyway. So let's get into our main topic for today, and then we'll get to some questions. Some YouTubers speak English very, very well, and they claim that English is not their mother tongue. Well, I don't doubt it. I know some English speakers who speak English very well, and English is definitely not their first language. So yeah, they're probably right. It's probably true. Andre says, I'm sorry, I wanted to ask when to omit some when it is followed by an uncountable noun. Example, I have time or I have some time. Boon means blessing. I know. I was joking there. That was a joke, Andres. Andres said, I wanted to ask you when to omit. Omit means leave out some when it is followed by an uncountable noun. I have time or I have some time. All right, so this is the question, and maybe we can include any there as well. Okay? So the difference is in connotation, really. Some is a word, it's very useful because it can be used for countable things, like I have some cups, right? And sometimes it can be used for uncountable things, like I have some food, right? Some food. Some food is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 food, right? Some money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 money. No. Some is a very useful word for that reason. It's different than words like many, for example, because many is only used for countable nouns, right? Many ideas, many cups, right? And there are some words that are only for uncountable nouns, right? So some is great. If you want to talk about a greater number or a greater amount, then you can use, also useful for both uncountable and countable, a lot. A lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of cups. Also very useful because it covers both countable and uncountable nouns. This kind of thing is called a quantifier. Some, any, a lot, many. These are quantifiers. Okay. So if we say, I have time and I have some time, the meaning could be exactly the same. It could be exactly the same. Meaning, for the thing that you've asked me to do, I am able to do that because I am free, right? But there might be a slight difference in the connotation there, and the connotation is the understood meaning or the feeling of a word or phrase. So if someone says, I have some time, somehow it decreases it and gives it a sense of not being much and helps to maybe put a little bit of pressure on the person asking for the favor to be quick, to not waste my time, to understand that what I'm doing for you is a favor, right? And not something that I absolutely would love to do. So this is a kind of subtle thing, right? If someone says, could you help me with this? Yeah, I have time. Come on in. Take up my afternoon. Whatever you want to do, right? So I want to suggest to you that ask your question and get out, right? That's what I want to suggest. Yeah, I have some time. Come on in. Okay, so you know now in this situation that get to the point. I'll answer your question. I'm a busy and important person, okay? All right, so that's generally the sense that we get. Now, someone could say, I have some time. Come on in. And that could be the same thing as, I have time. Come on in. Let me help you. So they could be exactly the same. They could have this feeling of making it seem like less or focusing on the lessness, right? In order to give that sense of pressure. Sometimes pressure is good, right? It's the difference in saying, for example, I have little money and I have a little money. I have a little money focuses on the positive. I have a little money means I have money. That's what it means. And I'm underselling or undersaying or downplaying the amount of money I have. I have so much money, right? I have little money. Really emphasizes that it's almost zero. It's almost nothing, right? I can barely afford to live. So often these quantifiers are not the hard and clear meaning. It's often this kind of subtle suggested meaning. Now, any is a little bit more yes or no. If someone says, do you have any? The answer is yes, I do, or no, I don't. If it's yes, I do, then we probably wouldn't say, yes, I do have any. We don't say, yes, I have any. I would say, yes, I have some, or yes, I have a few, or yes, I have a lot. If it's none, then we would use any again. No, I don't have any. I don't have any time today. Sorry, can you ask me tomorrow? So it's a yes. Usually it's a yes or a no thing. And when we answer the question, we're talking about the no answer, the zero answer. I don't have any. We wouldn't usually say any in the positive, but we would use any in the question. Do you know any good movies? Yes, I do. But I wouldn't say yes, I know any. I'd say yes, I do. I know several good movies. You could watch this one, or that one. Nah, I don't know any good movies. I've never seen a movie before. So, I hope that answers your question. I know it's kind of a long way to say it, but I hope it answers your question. These quantifiers certainly are interesting, I think. A lot of people think quantifiers are boring. I think they're interesting. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button because that really helps out the channel. I know it's a small thing, but it's very important to me. Also, if you want to see videos in the future and you want to have these recommended to you, make sure you subscribe. If you don't want that, then don't. And also, if you want to learn English more seriously, check out my full courses in the links in the description. All right, Andres or Andre is a good question. Very nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great. Do I use double negatives? I don't not use them. Sometimes, yeah. All right. What else do we have here? The difference between two vulgar words. Which two vulgar words? Which two vulgar words? You didn't give the example of two vulgar words, Marcus. How to find native speakers. I'm right here, Mohammed. Here I am. Hello. I'm one. How do you find it? It sounds like they're rare animals. They live in caves in the Himalayas. And if you put out treats, Rice Krispie treats, in front of the cave and stand far back, then you can watch through binoculars and you'll see native speakers come out of the cave. They'll nibble at the Rice Krispie treats. It's a sure way to find them and catch them. If you put a trap there, you have a box, and when they take the Rice Krispie treat, the box falls down and catches them. And then you can do whatever. Take the. All right, enough. I don't have no time. That would not be a common. That would not be a common expression. Do English native speakers always see a difference between the use of the simple past and the present perfect? Yeah. Okay, Janaki. Janaki says, do native English speakers always see a difference between the use of simple past and present perfect? Let's just say clearly what these two are. Simple past is the verb in the past form, changed to the past. So run, ran, eat, ate, walk, walked, fetch, fetched, all of those. Dive, dove. You know that. Changing a verb into the past tense. Simple. Now, what does that mean? It means it happened before. That's what it means. It happened before. And then the present perfect tense is usually when we have the subject, like I, and then the past perfect tense, let me correct that. The past participle is what I meant to say. And then we have, let me start over. Structure. I'm doing this in my head. I usually have it written down. Subject. I, we, you. And then we have or has. Have or has. And then the past participle of the verb. Past participle would be something like eaten, done, been. But it should be very importantly noted that the past participle is sometimes the same as the past tense, right? So walked would be an example. The word walked is the same as past participle and as the simple past tense. They're the same thing. Okay, but sometimes not. You have to just learn the different ones. So that's the difference in terms of structure and grammar. The present perfect is a little bit more complicated. Now, then you have the continuous one where it goes subject, I, and then have or has, and then been, which is the past participle of be or is or am, and then you have an ing. Okay, so these are kind of the ones that we have. Now, what's the difference between them? What's the difference between saying, I ate breakfast and I have eaten breakfast? Eaten is the past participle. Have, right? I have. She has eaten breakfast. I have eaten breakfast. I ate breakfast. The actual meaning of these two can be exactly the same, right? So there, a native English speaker would not probably distinguish between them and might say one or the other. But it gets a little more complicated when it's more than one thing in the past, right? If someone says, I have eaten at Denny's 3 times this week, I have eaten at Denny's 3 times this week, that's a specific restaurant, and I'm talking about, in this moment in my life, looking back into the past, this is totally what's true, right? But then I probably wouldn't say, I ate at Denny's 3 times this week. I could say it, but it's probably better to say I've eaten at Denny's 3 times this week. I ate would usually, more often at least, again, it's okay, but it's more often used when we're talking about those specific times. When I ate there on Tuesday, when I ate there on Wednesday, when I ate there on Friday, when I did those individual things, then you would probably use the simple past. Now, it's especially true if there's no time frame at all. This week, okay, you can use the simple past. I ate at Denny's 3 times this week. That's okay. But if I say, I ate at Denny's 136 times in my life, that would definitely be very uncommon and sounds weird to me. But to say, I have eaten at Denny's 136,000 times in my life, totally. That's the count, right? I'm keeping marks on my wall. I'm marking my wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. I'm counting. Okay. Now it makes almost total sense and sounds perfectly natural to use the present perfect tense. Okay. So that's generally where the past tense and the present perfect tense overlap. Now, what about this ing one? Well, this is the one where it's definitely different from the simple past tense. If you have the ing, for example, I have been living, I have been eating, I have been talking, I have been sleeping, I have been running, I have been whatever, I have been running every morning for the last 3 weeks. This is different than saying I ran every morning for the last 3 weeks. I have been running every morning for the last 3 weeks. I ran every morning for the last 3 weeks. If what you want to say is, today you didn't run, and maybe today and yesterday, you didn't run, you stopped, you gave up on your habit of running every morning, then it makes sense to say I ran every morning for the last 3 weeks. It kind of makes sense, right? It's a past thing. It's done. It's done. Past tense means done, finished, in the past. Bye-bye. But if you use the present perfect tense, then you're talking about this thing that is still going on, as though the action is continuing forward in the direction of the future, and you are sitting on the arrow of the timeline moving forward in the direction of the future. You're still there, right? This morning, yes, I went for a run this morning. Tomorrow I will too, and the next day I will too. Now, so far, I have been running for the last 3 weeks. That tells you this is when I started this great new habit that I have. So those are definitely different, and I hope that makes sense. I hope this is not too complicated. This is tough stuff. I mean, tough stuff to get it right and make sure you get it perfect. As you can see, me explaining it and talking about the structure off the top of my head is also not easy. But I hope that at least makes it a little more clear. Guys, if you have not already, don't forget to, of course, hit the like button. I would appreciate that. That helps out the channel. A tiny little click helps the channel in a big way. Also, If you want to see future videos, subscribe. And check out the full courses, which are on sale, of course. 30% regular discount in the link in the description. Links, I should say. Okay. All right. Janaki, good. Glad to hear it. Mohammed, we have a WhatsApp group administered by Luke. You're welcome to join us. Yep. Yeah, guys, the WhatsApp group, I'm technically the admin of it, but I'll never admit it if you ask me directly. I am just a group member. I don't run the group. I'm just a person. I'm just a dude in the group. And if you want to get in, you have to find someone who's in it and talk to them and have a conversation with them and beg them, and maybe they'll let you in. Thanks, Paulson. Paulson's here. Very good. Anderson's here. Hey, Luke. All right. Could you pop up the comment, this expression, give me a leg up? Sure. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. All right. Let's see if I missed anything. Marcus, I don't see your question. I see, Marcus, you've asked something about double negatives. I answered that one in a 2-second answer because it's a 2-second answer. And then the other one was about vulgar words, but you didn't give me the example of the 2 vulgar words that you wanted me to talk about. I'm happy to do so, but you didn't tell me which ones. Should I just come up with any 2 vulgar words? That sounds like hard work. Where's Anderson's question? That's a good one. Anderson Duarte says, "Hey Luke, all right? Could you pop up and comment this expression, give me a leg up?" So often, almost always, idioms, common expressions don't mean what they look like they mean. When you see the expression, you say, huh? Legs? What? Shotguns? Buckets? Huh? Balls? What are you talking about? Don't look at the words. Remember the words so that you can then use it if you want to, but if you want to understand, you have to look farther into it. You have to research it or ask me. And so this is one of these. This has nothing to do with legs. It has nothing to do with that at all. It's not how it's used. Now, it might come from that, and I have a guess about where it comes from. But where it comes from, where an idiom, an expression comes from, its origin, may be interesting, but is practically useless in my opinion. Who cares? I mean, who cares in terms of usage? You use it, you know what it means, that's enough. You don't need to know why it means that, right? I mean, I'm only guessing when I say what it means, why it means what it means, right? So, let's say what it means first. If you give someone a leg up, or if something gives you a leg up, it's basically like saying you get an advantage in some way, which may allow you to succeed over others. Now, it's usually not the person who's helping you directly. You helping me gives me a leg up. It could be that, we can use it for that, but it's more often, my sense is, when you get a thing which gives you an advantage in some way over others. Maybe you have an interview coming up. All right, so you take a 3-hour course about interviews, and you learn about 50 possible questions they may ask you and how to answer those questions. I wonder where you could find a course like that, right? And that then allows you to feel confident going into your interview. You get the job, or you get close to getting your job. You're the last candidate, last of the 3 candidates among 50. All right. So you'd say, well, that gave me a leg up. What gave you a leg up? What gave you the advantage? The course. But it doesn't have to be that. Maybe you're talking about video games. You're a gamer. And you bought a very nice monitor, an expensive monitor. And it has a high refresh rate, right? Your friend has a slower monitor with a slower refresh rate. You have this new monitor, which is very fast, very powerful. So when you're playing shooting games, you're going to do better. You have a leg up. Now, there I'm not even saying the monitor gave you a leg up. I could say that, but I could just say I have a leg up on others. I have a leg up on others. And then people might say, why? It's my new monitor. Or it's my fast fingers, or whatever it is. So it's any kind of advantage, and it's often in relation to how others are doing. It's often a thing that you got or have been given or purchased or learned that gave you that, but it could be something that's just part of you, like your fast fingers or your smart brain, right? That could give you a leg up and on others, and sometimes it's a person, right, who is helping you do something, but less often, I feel. Now, where does it come from? I think it comes from boosting someone. If somebody is trying to reach something on a shelf, and they're trying to reach something, I can't reach it. I can't reach it. And then you say, oh, let me give you a boost. You put your hands like this under their feet, and you lift their leg up, and they're able to reach. I got it, yeah. And they got it, and you help them. So I think that's what it comes from, but I could be wrong. I don't know. That's just my guess. So I hope that answers your question, Anderson. It's a good one. Guys, don't forget to check out the courses. Give the video a like. I would appreciate that. And also, if you want to, subscribe as well. Okay. Oh, Marcus, I don't want to do that one. Sorry. That's my line, bro. Not on my channel. I'll pass. All right. We're going to do my topic, okay? And then maybe I would definitely will check some more questions for sure. Quit and resign, that's a good one. I will get to that one. That is a very good one. That is a very good one. Well. So I want to share a topic with you guys. When someone asks you something, especially if it's a request, what do you say? If you want to answer yes, can you just say yes? Yeah, you can. But it's not that simple. Because sometimes you want to express a feeling of yes. And sometimes you want to express a feeling of excitement. Yes. And sometimes it's just yes. And you don't feel any way about it. So we're going to look at many different ways that we can say yes without saying yes. We'll talk about ways that we can show enthusiasm about saying yes. We'll talk about ways that we can show a sense of neutrality about saying yes, just a yes. And we'll talk about ways that we can show a sense of resentment about saying yes, where we don't really want to do it, and we kind of want to let them know that we want to do it, we will do it, we're willing to do it, but we don't really want to do it, okay? So let's start with a question. Simple question. The question is, could you please help me with this? Let's just say whatever, okay? Because the question is not so important. It's a request. Could you please help me with this? Whatever it is. What is that? Whatever. Doesn't matter. All right. Now, we want to show a bit of enthusiasm. We want to show a bit of excitement about saying yes, but we don't want to say yes. So we might say, yep. We might say, yeah. We might say, uh-huh. We might say, all right. We might say, sure. We might say, okay. But I want to talk a little bit about these and how they feel when we say them, right? Because the way that we say them also matters. If you say, yep, this is a very casual, it's friendly, casual, short, quick answer. So it's usually not a serious thing. Like you asked me to build you a bookshelf. I probably won't say, yep, right? It's usually something quite small. And it's the same for yeah. So yep and yeah are probably for very small favors, very small requests, not a big thing, right? Uh-huh often feels like I'm willing to do this, and I want to say this to show a sense of thoughtfulness, a slight sense of thoughtfulness, but it depends on how you say it. If you say, uh-huh, then it's a friendly yes, but it could be, if I say it a different way, more like I'm not paying attention. Yeah, I'm willing to do that, but I'm not really listening. So it depends on how you say that one, right? I'm distracted, and you ask me, hey, can you help me with this? And I say, that means I will do it, but right now I'm focusing on this thing. But if I say, that means I'm confirming your request, I'm agreeing to your request, but I am thinking about it for just a second first. That's how it feels, at least. We can call that the connotation. All right is kind of in the middle. That one really depends on how we say it, and sure and okay are the same. Because if you say, all right, then that's a sort of not very excited at all feeling. And so that could be, I don't want to do this, but I will, I guess. But if you say, all right, that's more excited, that's more enthusiastic. Same with sure. Sure shows a sense of excitement. Sure, okay, sure, okay, sure, okay. So the way that you say it matters. The way that you say it expresses your sense of willingness and how you feel about doing something. Let's look at some things that are a little bit more excited. Of course, absolutely, sure thing, you got it, happy to, and gladly. Now, if someone says, of course, they are genuinely excited to do this, right? And this is a pretty strong expression. This could also be more formal, right? Someone asks you to do something and you say, oh, yes, of course, of course, of course. So that could be casual, but usually it's slightly more formal and definitely shows a bit more enthusiasm. Absolutely, sure thing, you got it, happy to, and gladly are all very positive. These are all very enthusiastic. These all give a very strong sense of me being not only willing to do what you asked me to do, but also excited to do what you asked me to do. I really want to. I'm actually excited about it, right? So all of these are kind of the same feeling. Now, of course is the one that's a little bit more complicated because that one could just be formal, right? Could you help me with this? Of course, of course. Maybe I'm serious there. Maybe that's not expressing my enthusiasm or my excitement. Now, what about on the other side of this? We've looked at ones that could be very enthusiastic or maybe not, or maybe kind of in the middle. Depends on how we say them. We've looked at ones that are generally more enthusiastic, more excited. Now, how about some ones that are on the other end? If you insist, I guess so. Whatever. Well, okay. Fine. And okay. And I would put some of the other ones that we talked about on here as well. For example, these that we looked at, if we say them in the right way, all right, okay, sure, we get that same sense of, I don't know, not very excited about that. Now, if you insist is a really strong one to mean I don't want to. Can you please help me with this? If you insist. Now, this is also, for example, if you have a strong point and I don't want to fight you anymore, so I say, if you insist, I'm showing a little bit of resentment. I guess so is definitely slightly resentful, right? This is, I'm willing to go along, but do you want to go later to this thing that I'm doing? I guess so. I don't have anything else to do. There's nothing else. If I had another thing to do, I wouldn't go. So I'm showing a little bit of sort of feeling when I say that one. Now, whatever. That one could be very sarcastic. Some people will say that in a sarcastic way to mean, I don't care, I will do it, but I really don't care, but actually, I really don't want to. So this one also depends on how you say it. Sarcastic tone, whatever, right? Or you really feel neutral and you say it like this, whatever, and you do it. That's sort of like, I'm in the middle. If you ask me to do it, I'll do it, but it doesn't really show enthusiasm or excitement like the other ones can. Now, what about well, okay, fine, and okay? These can definitely have some resentment. Well, okay, well, just the word well is a thinking word. It's a hesitation. So if you want to show hesitation, we're thinking about it first, it's probably not very enthusiastic, right? Fine. When someone is pushing and pushing and pushing us to do something we don't want to do it, we say no, 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 no. Then on the 30th time, we say fine. So fine is often used after many no's. Someone has finally won. They've finally pushed you far enough so that you just say, if you'll stop asking me, I'll do it. Okay, I'll help you. Just stop asking me. Please. No, please. I can't. Please. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm begging you. Fine. Let me do it. Let me help you. Right? That's how that one often feels. And K is I'm not even thinking about what you're saying. It's kind of a neutral thing, but also a little bit closer toward not really interested or excited about what you're asking me to do. So those are some of the common ways, some of the most common ways that we say yes, and I think we've covered the range of the different connotations that we might have when we use them. So don't just say yes. Try some of these other ones. If you guys have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to hit the like button. That really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you'd like to see videos, live streams in the future. And also, make sure to check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Okay. What do we got here? KKK in Brazil is like, ha ha ha. Yeah, I know. I did a video about that. KKK is also in Korea. KKK is, surprisingly common for laughter in different languages. Jenna is studying French and Korean. Wow, at the same time? Very cool. Very cool. I'm studying alchemy and shamanism. Can I improve my vocabulary by reading books, even if my vocabulary in English is very weak? That's a good question. Yeah. I'll get to that one. The books question is good. You're a polyglot. That's what you are. Yeah, Mohammed, that's a different KKK. Writing 3 Ks is laughter in some countries, and in the United States, it is a white supremacist organization that historically was very against all black people and Jewish people, I think. And they're still around, but they're not really, not like they used to be back in the mid to late 19th century, and then especially early to mid 20th century. That's right. The KKK, they had white hoods. They still have. I mean, they're still around. and pointy hats. Exactly. It's called white supremacy. That's what that group is all about. Vissel says, "To whom did you vote for?" Oh, you should watch the last live stream. It got very political. It was about voting. I did not vote for either. No, they're just gnomes. That's funny. I've heard this regarding these letters. Since then, I quit using them. Okay. Well, I think if you use 5Ks, right? If you say, if you're Korean or you are Portuguese or you're Brazilian and you write 5Ks, then I don't think you're going to be misunderstood, right? It is specifically 3Ks. 3Ks. So if you want to avoid that awkward misunderstanding, just don't write 3 of them. Do 2, do 5, something like that. 4, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, Doran. It's offensive in the United States. There was a question earlier that I really wanted to answer, and I have to find it now. Oh, Luba's here. Hello, Luba. I didn't see your comment. Ubermensch says, "You look very young and thin in it with a denim shirt. I bought your Udemy course and changed my accent. Thank you, sir." Yes, definitely both younger and thinner. Both of those two things together. Now I'm trying hard to gain weight. I'm trying to gain 600 pounds before the end of the year. It's my goal. See if I can get there. Where is that question I wanted to answer? Thales. That's a cool name. Thales. Thales was a guy known, well, he was often considered to be the very first philosopher in Western thought, in the sort of tradition of philosophy in what we call the Western world. There was philosophy before him, but he was considered the first. Thales believed that he's known as a pre-Socratic, meaning he came before Socrates and influenced some of Socrates' ideas, and Plato and Socrates and Aristotle and those guys. He believed that water was the essential substance of the universe, that everything ultimately was made of water, and that the earth floated on water. He was very interested in magnets. He learned about mathematics and geometry from maybe the Egyptians or Babylonians, and he had a school known as the Milesian School. And the Milesians thought that there was one ultimate substance, but they didn't agree on which substance it was, right? And one thing that he did that was famous was that he, on a dare, said, being rich is easy. Philosophers can be rich if they want to. I don't want to. And people said, you don't say that unless you mean it. And he said, okay. And so he became rich just on a dare, just to prove that he could if he wanted to. Cool guy, anyway. All right, I can't find the other question yet, so please re-ask your question. I said I was going to answer it. I'll answer this one for now. Maoid says, "I asked a question before. The question is, can I improve my English by reading books even if my English vocabulary is weak?" And the answer is yes. In fact, that is one of the best ways to improve your vocabulary. If your vocabulary is weak, reading is a great way to improve it. But you have to be reading at the right level. And so I'll just give you some tips about how to find your reading level. And first I'll explain why you have to read at the right level. If you open a book that is incomprehensible to you, that you cannot understand, then any word that you find is not going to have the proper context that will allow you to... The proper context that will allow you to get a feeling for the word, to see how it's used, right? And so open a book, look at it, and see how much you can understand. If I open a medical dictionary or something, I'm going to understand nothing. I'm going to look at it and I will be totally confused, and I'm going to just throw it away in disgust and frustration. I can't understand. I will learn none of those words because it's too hard for me. It's above my level. But if I open a book that's at my level, then I'll find some words that I don't know, but I'll get the main gist of it, the main idea. I'll understand mostly what's happening on the page. And so that might be the right book for me. So what you should do is, if you want to see your level, pick up a book that's in the class of books that you like, in the category. If you like nonfiction, find a nonfiction book. I recommend nonfiction. It's usually easier to read than fiction. If you like fiction, okay, pick up a book, work of fiction, generally at a medium to lower level. Open it up to any random page and try to read that page. Don't start from the beginning. Open it up from the middle and look at the page. Just see what you see. Can you understand 50 to 60%? Can you get the main idea of what they're saying? If that, then it's probably okay. If you can't understand anything, then it's too hard. If you read through the whole page and you understand everything and it's very easy and you have no questions in your mind, then it's too easy. It should be slightly frustrating to read, meaning that, what's that? Oh, what's that? What's this? That's good. Slight frustration is a great measure of finding your accurate level, not only when it comes to reading, but also when it comes to speaking, having conversations, consuming content of any kind. Frustration is a positive thing. Frustration means you're struggling against your limitations. If you're not struggling against your limitations, you are not improving because you're just repeating what you already know. In that case, you're just reviewing. That's not real progress, not really. So frustration, that's good. But if you feel overwhelmed and you have no idea what's going on and you are utterly confused, then you're not going to improve because you can't find any footholds, any traction to start walking up the hill. So I hope that makes sense. And I would recommend reading nonfiction. Nonfiction is generally better than fiction because it's written to be understood, not written to paint images in your mind like fiction is. It's a good question. Moyad, I'm not sure how to say your name, and I apologize for that. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button, of course. Subscribe if you want to see future videos and live streams, and also check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. I know there's another question. Have you ever watched The Office? Yes, I think I've seen the first 3 seasons of The Office. And then I think I got a little tired of it. You like reading biographies? That's a good choice. Download and play books from Google. Listen to Trump's speeches to learn English. Jenna, that's awesome. Awesome. Although that might be a little too easy because Trump's English is pretty simple. It's good. It's great. It's the best. Teacher Luke, please explain this nook and cranny and give synonyms. Ooh, nooks and crannies. Well, can I just say nooks and crannies are small spaces? Nooks and crannies are very small little spaces here and there. And to get into the nooks and the crannies is to get into all of those small spaces to maybe understand something in the details. For example, there's an idea system and you want to understand it. Or maybe you're a detective and you want to understand the details. Or physically, you're going to reach back and get little things from the corner of the basement or something like that. It's just little spaces, small spaces that need to be explored or not. They say Trump's English level is the same as a 4th grader. Yeah, I think so. I read science fiction book and did not understand anything. Yeah, science fiction is not a good choice. Not a good choice. But I mean, how is this too? What about The Little Prince? If I read The Little Prince to you, this might be too easy. The first one was inhabited by a king wearing purple and ermine. He was sitting on a simple yet majestic throne. Ah, here's a subject, the king exclaimed when he caught sight of the little prince. And the little prince wondered, how can he know who I am if he's never seen me before? He didn't realize that for kings, the world is extremely simplified. All men are subjects. So, do you understand that? Do you understand all of it? Is it too easy? Too hard? Hemingway, Old Man and the Sea, classic fiction. I can do nothing with him, and he can do nothing with me, he thought. Not as long as he keeps this up. Once he stood up and urinated over the side of the skiff and looked at the stars and checked his course. Once he stood up. Oh, I should read it like that. They were moving more slowly now, and the glow of Havana was not so strong. How about that? Old Man and the Sea. The thing I picked was some guy peeing off the side of a boat at random. What are the odds? Suckdeep129 says, do you look up to esports casters for their verbal fluency? They can talk really fast and they can describe play-by-play everything that is going on even when it occurs at a very fast pace. Yeah, they know the subject so well that I've watched esports casters playing things like StarCraft or League of Legends, and it is pretty impressive. I often, when I'm watching esports, I don't know what's happening. It's moving so quickly, and they're panning around so fast. I don't know what's going on. Jeet says, hey Luke, hope you're doing great. What exactly means to have lost my sister? It means that your sister died, passed away. To lose someone means that they died. Yeah, I lost my sister last year. Very sad. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences. Oh, that's so sad. That means my sister passed away last year. Ah, Jamie, that's the question I was waiting for. I wanted to answer that one. I couldn't find it. I went up and I looked and I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. Yes. So, Jamie, maybe, could you please help me with my question? What's the difference between quit and resign? And this is a great question because if you look in the dictionary, you will find these two, probably, as synonyms. Synonyms are words that mean the same thing. But synonyms are never, very rarely, synonyms. They're never actually exactly the same. The way to think of a synonym is kind of like a Venn diagram. You know what a Venn diagram is? A Venn diagram is where you have at least two circles. And let's say these two circles are two ideas or two words, the meanings of two words. And they overlap partially, but not completely. And you could bring in more circles, 5 circles, 4 circles, right? If you look at a concept called the ikigai, you will see many circles. And in the middle is where they overlap. And it could be many synonyms. So quit, resign, leave, go, exit. In a way, these are synonyms, right? But each of them has their own meaning that is not the same as the others. And sometimes the meaning is a denotative meaning, which is the actual meaning in the dictionary, if you look it up. And sometimes the meaning is connotative, meaning suggestive meaning, the feeling that we have, right? So what about quit and resign? If you quit, let's say we're talking about a job. We're usually talking about a job. Then you're done and you're out, you leave, you choose to do that. If you resign, you're done, you're out, you choose to leave, right? So that's kind of the same point that they have. Both of them mean that. And you could, if you're talking about the last job you had, say, I resigned in April, I quit in April. And people will say, okay, that's cool. Why did you resign or why did you quit? Now, the difference comes when we talk about how people feel when they use that word when they're doing it. I'm thinking about quitting. I'm thinking about resigning. If I say I'm thinking about quitting, often the feeling I'm trying to give is this sudden thing. Often disgust, or maybe a short-term decision, a decision I didn't think deeply about. Maybe I got upset one day and I just said, you know what, screw this, I quit. That's the feeling. And that could be a thing that happens in a moment. Talking to your boss offends you deeply. And you say, you know what, I quit. In the moment, you could say, I quit. But you could not say, you know what, I resign. That is not how we use resign. Resign suggests a slightly more formal, well-considered, thought-out process. And again, quit and resign can be the same if we're describing the past. But resign suggests a feeling of, I've thought about this deeply. I've put in a formal letter to say that I'm quitting or leaving. And I'm letting you know very respectfully, and I hope that you'll be respectful of me. And maybe I'll be able to reach out to you in the future for reference letters and so on. So there's a more respectful tone about resignation. There's a more thoughtful feeling or connotation about resignation, whereas quit sometimes has this immediate temper, angry sort of thing. But it doesn't have to be, right? Quit could be something you've thought about. I've been thinking about it, and I've decided I'm going to quit. But you wouldn't tell your boss that you're going to quit if you want to be respectful. You would tell your friends that later. Yeah, I'm going to quit. That's what you tell your friends. When you talk to your boss, then you might say, I've decided to put in my 2-week notice or my 2 weeks notice. I've decided I'll be leaving in 2 weeks. I've decided it's time for me to move on. Now, can we use resign there? If it's a normal job, we probably won't use resign there when you're actually talking to the boss, right? So resign might be for the actual process itself. Now, resign is most often used for formal positions that are appointments. And you often hear resign in the news when you hear about the military or about the government. So a position you've been appointed to that is not your job necessarily, but is a role that you have that you've decided to leave is the most common use of resign, right? So I work in the government and I've been appointed to this office and I've decided that it's time for me to go. I'm going to resign. I'm going to write a resignation letter, a letter of resignation. Or I am the president and I've decided to do that. Or I've been appointed to a specific position on a club in my school and I've decided to resign. So resign, I would say, is most often used in the context of roles and appointments, and not as often used for jobs, because when you're talking about a job, you talk about to your boss leaving. You talk about to your boss putting in your 2 weeks notice. And then later you just say you quit, right? Most of the time. So most of the time it is for formal appointments and things like that. I hope that answers your question, Jamie. It's a good one. And I think it really highlights the importance of synonyms not really always being synonyms because of how they're used and because of the connotation. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, of course. Don't forget to subscribe as well so that you can see future videos and live streams. And also, check out, if you are interested in improving your English, my full courses in the links in the description. Those are 30% off right now. Okay. Can't distinguish between American and Canadian accent. Is that my problem? Rage, resign. No, I don't necessarily think that it's your problem. Problem is a strong word anyway. But there aren't that many differences between Canadian English and American English, right? So the few words that come to mind would be things like house, hoose, about, aboot. Those are some small differences. People in Canada, they really do say aboot, or a boot instead of about, which is what Americans say, the ow. The diphthong ow is pronounced differently between Canada and the United States, generally speaking, the ow diphthong. There are other things as well, and some words I think are slightly different. Canada, they might say boot instead of trunk. There might be some vocabulary differences, but you'd have to ask a Canadian English teacher for sure about those or look them up online. But yeah, American English and Canadian English are very, very similar. What is the meaning of indeed? Indeed means that's right. If I agree with something, somebody says something, I say instead of I agree, I can say indeed, indeed, indeed. It does feel a little formal if I say that, but I use indeed a lot, right? And sometimes it's put in front of things. It is indeed a very difficult challenge. Or they are indeed very similar. That's an emphasis on the adjective. Is reading the dictionary and using flashcard systems such as Anki effective for improving vocabulary? The problem with that is you will remember the words. Flashcards work. Spaced repetition, the Anki method, works. It's very, very well scientifically established that it works for memory. You'll remember the word, but the question is, do you know how to use the word? Do you really know what it means? Do you know how to use it in a sentence? So I would encourage you to use Anki as a way to remember the word itself, but still have a mechanism for making sure you know the usage of a word. And that would be each time the word comes up in your spaced repetition Anki practice, write down a sentence that includes the word that enforces the usage of it, right? Because remembering 5,000 English words in 2 weeks is practically useless if you want to start using those 5,000 words, right? You have to use them in the context of their usage in the language. Wittgenstein said, a word means how it's used. So that means, what does that mean? That means don't trust dictionaries. Trust usage. So always reference the dictionary definition to its context in the sentence. Okay, that's what it means in the dictionary. Got it. That's useful. Dictionaries exist for a reason. Now take that and apply it to where you found it. That's why the best way to discover vocabulary is what you're reading, is a movie or a TV show, is a conversation you had at work. The context should always be there. The context should be a relevant part of the conversation. The context has to be the thing that ties your understanding of the word back into reality so that when you're having the conversation with the person, it pops up. Because if it's always disconnected, if the vocabulary lists exist in some sort of outside place, if it's in some Hilbert space of meaning out there in your brain somewhere floating around, then when you need it in the situation and you're thinking about 100 other things, you won't be able to pull it down from the space where it exists somewhere in there. You'll only be able to pull it down or start using it when you have stitched it into sentences before, when you have seen it in context, when you've said it in sentences. So again, yes, Anki works, but if you don't write it down, at least speak a sentence with that word. Be creative with the word. Use the word, and it'll have some feeling of reality for you. And I say this as someone who's always learning words. I try to learn lots of words, but my method is always to tie it to something, and you have to do that. I don't write things down, though. Everything is, I try to keep it in my mind, because in my opinion, if I can't hold it in my mind, if I don't have the ability to hold it in my mind, then I don't deserve to have it. That's my attitude toward learning new things. If I can't remember it, I don't deserve it. That seems bad, but it works for me pretty well, decently anyway. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, as I've mentioned many times in the past. Also, be sure to check out the full courses in the links in the description. There's a course about building your English brain, which you might find useful. It's got over 4,000 reviews from students like yourself. And if you want to see future videos, feel free to subscribe as well. All right. Get vocabulary. Reading or watching series on Netflix. Nothing wrong with Netflix. Yeah. Now the question is, can you actually get them, right? Sometimes things move along so quickly that you can't get the words, but if you really are careful and you pause and say, okay, that's a new word, and pause again, and that's a new word, then absolutely, Netflix, movies, TV shows can be a fantastic way to learn. But you have to be a participant in it. You can't just watch passively. He is not in a committee or on the committee. Which preposition should be used? I've heard both of them used, in or on. In a committee, on a committee. I think on is more common, but I have heard people use in a committee. Maybe in would be, the focus of in might be in the context of the others there. In this committee, I take on the role of whatever, and then I was placed on a committee. So that's similar to using in the team or on the team. It's a similar kind of idea. I think on the committee is more common, though. Yeah, I mean, if you pause all the time, then you're going to get exhausted. Have I missed any comments? I used to watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to learn English when I was a kid. That's a good movie. But I like the old one, though. I like the one with Gene Wilder in it, and the one with Johnny Depp is, it's tolerable. Janaki has got to go. Janaki always has to go. See you later, Janaki. Can't always distinguish between... Okay. If I've missed any questions, guys, let me know. I can answer one more, I think. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Did you hear that? There's a weird noise coming from somewhere. I can't get more than 7.0 in IELTS speaking. How can I improve my score? Well, 7 is very high, Jenna. 7 is extremely high. Did they give you a breakdown of your score? Did they give you any indication about what were the weaker areas? What do you think your weaknesses are? But seriously, 7 that's a very high score. I mean, getting an 8 is very hard. I would probably get an 8 if I took it instead of a 9. Hi, bro. Could you please help me? What's the difference between is and has been? Well, Amaro, they're all the same word. It's just different form. I mean, is and be are the same, and then have and has are the same. So I'm not quite sure I'm not quite sure I understand the question. I've selected. I've been selected. These two phrases have the same meaning. Sometimes I can't understand when should I use this been thing. I've been. Wow, I don't know if you missed it early on. I talked for about 10 minutes about the difference between the simple past tense and the present perfect tense. I have been selected is called the present perfect tense. And then I've sorry, I misread it. I've selected. Oh, I see. I misread your question. Oh, well, that is a difference then. I'm not omitting any question. Andres, you're very, very forceful. I can't always answer every question immediately. Guys, the questions go very quickly by. I apologize, Vissel, for misreading your question. I will answer it. Vissel says, I've selected. I've been selected. These two phrases have the same meaning. Sometimes I can't understand when should I use this been thing. I haven't heard it a lot, I guess. Okay. They are not the same. If someone says, I have been selected, I have selected. I want you to think about that for a second. I have been selected. I have selected. They sound close, but what's the difference? All right. Well, maybe I can give another example. The mountain has been climbed. The mountain has been climbed. What does that mean? Does that mean the mountain is climbing? No, the mountain is not doing anything. The mountain is the object of an action. Something else is climbing the mountain, right? Maybe I am climbing the mountain. So the mountain has been climbed by me. That sounds a weird sentence. I'm not saying the sentence should be used. I'm just giving an example. The mountain has been climbed by me. I climbed the mountain. So I'm the one doing the action. And in a way, the mountain is the one receiving the action, the object of the action of climbing. And you could say it like that, except you wouldn't, because why would we talk about the mountain in that way? We would just say, I climbed the mountain. Okay. But I say this because I want to sort of clarify that this is a thing that exists and is the same as I've been selected. So, did I select anything? No, I didn't select anything. Someone else was selecting. I'm the object of the selection. So, there are 5 people. One of us will be selected. Will one of us be doing the selecting? No. There's a person over there who will be doing the selecting. So, if we were to complete this sentence, we might say, I've been selected by the committee. Okay, so now there's this thing over there. It's called the committee. And if I were to make it an active voice sentence, then it would be, the committee selected me. The committee selected me. Now, if I say that, then the focus is on the committee, the action of the committee. But maybe I don't want to focus on the committee. Maybe I want to focus on me, right? So if I want to focus on me, I'll start with I've been. I've been selected. And I don't even care about the committee. I don't even want to say who selected me. But it should be clear that I am still the object of the selection. I'm not the one choosing anything. I'm the one who got chosen, who was chosen. By whom? By the committee. So cut that part off, and you've got, I've been selected. I've been selected by the committee. I've been selected. Among 5 people. Okay, now let's make a longer sentence. Among the final 5, or among the 5 finalists, I've been selected by the committee. I've been selected by the committee among the 5 finalists. Okay, so it should be clear now, I'm not doing any action. But the other one is, I've selected 5 finalists. Now I'm the committee. I'm the one doing the choosing, and we're talking about 5 people over there, not including me. I'm now the one climbing the mountain. I'm climbing the mountain. The mountain has been climbed, is being climbed, right? I am climbing the mountain. I'm selecting 5 finalists. I'm in the committee. 5 people over there, I'll choose person C because I'm in the committee. So they're very different. They're actually very different. Although they look so close, they have, if you unpack them and sort of unravel them and look at them, very different meanings. And I hope that's clear. And I hope the mountain example makes it clear, because even though we don't talk about mountains that way, if we did, that's how it would look. The mountain has been climbed by the committee. the committee is climbing the mountain. Anyway, I hope that's clear. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Subscribe so that you can see future videos. Hit the like button if you like it. If you don't, then don't. And if you are interested in improving your English more seriously in a longer format, say 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, then check out my full courses in the links in the description. All right. Good question, Vissel. I have been selected by someone is right. Yes, you could say that. And why would we say it? We would say it because we want to focus on me, not on the person doing the selecting. Sorry about those notification sounds. I can turn that off. My stupid iPad here. It's my angry noises. All right. Oh, Cloud English is live. Wow, that's me. Sorry, I shouldn't check my email during the live stream. All right, guys. I think we're going to call it a day. Andres, I don't know which question I missed, but if I miss questions, it's just because the chat is zooming by sometimes, and I miss things, and it happens, and I apologize. But if I do miss a question, just join next time and ask next time, and I'll try to get to it next time. Unless the question is really... So I might not answer a question if it's so broad and so big that it's almost unanswerable. Like, what is the difference between is and can? If someone asked that question, what's the difference between is and can? I don't even know what that means. What's the difference? Everything is everything is different. There's nothing that's not different. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you ask interesting questions that are narrow enough so that I have something to go on, like that last question, the 2 things side by side. What is this compared to this? Or what does this expression mean? That kind of question is useful for everybody, and I'm also not, I don't know what your question is going to be, right? So if it's too broad, I have nothing to work with. I need something to sink my teeth into so that I can actually give a decent answer. So try to keep your questions, interesting and useful for everybody. All right. Guys, I appreciate you joining. It is about that time. Tomorrow, we will be watching a movie. No Q&A tomorrow. Well, unless your question is about the movie. We're going to be watching a black and white movie, learning English together. So get ready for that. If you're interested, we're going to watch a whole movie, okay? So we can check out the old ones if you want, but that should be fun, sort of learning English together through movies. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. So thanks, guys. Again, great questions. Feel free to let me know if you have any others in the comments. Would appreciate if you guys don't mind, hit the like button. That would help out. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Subscribe, check out the courses, all that stuff. 30% discount on the courses. And I'm going to go eat something because I am hungry. If I'm going to get to 600 pounds by the end of the year, I've got to work hard. All right, guys. Bye-bye.